Welcome to AiArthritis Voices 360. This is the official talk show for the International Foundation for Autoimmune and Autoinflammatory Arthritis, or AiArthritis for short. My name is Tiffany Westrich-Robertson. I'm the CEO and original founder of the organization, and I'm also a person living with the diseases like all of the public-facing staff at our organization. I'm diagnosed with non-radiographic axial spondyloarthritis. I know it's so long, and I am not alone. I'm here today with my co-host, Ray. Hi, Ray.
Hi, Tiffany. Thanks for having me. I am Ray Patnaude. I'm a person living with psoriatic arthritis, and I'm also the project manager for the Knowledge's Empowerment Program produced by AiArthritis.
Wonderful. So that is the reason, actually, why Ray is the co-host today, because this Knowledge's Empowerment Program that we run through AiArthritis was ideated by patients, like all of the programs and projects and resources that we do here, with patients realizing if we had some patient teachers, if we had patient leaders that were helping us understand all of these really complex issues around the country or world, depending on where you live, that is really impacting my access to healthcare, my healthcare experience, then maybe we could get more people to share stories, more people to get involved, because the more that get involved and share their complications, who share their frustrations, who have that knowledge, would then be more empowered to share. And in turn, we could have thousands of stories and thousands of reasons for change. And from that, ideated this sub project that has now blossomed into its own, and it is called What the Hell? WTH capital ELLTH question mark exclamation point. And I'm going to actually let Ray, who's the project manager of What the Health, just give a brief overview in his own words what this project's all about.
Well, this is a way to capture the frustration that we all feel as patients. And this can be, whether you're living with an AI arthritis disease, as we are, Tiffany, or any kind of disease of any disease state that you can think of. Everybody is a patient. Everyone has frustrations with the healthcare system. I know I do. I know you do. Everybody we know does. And I think it's fair to say it's universal.
Oh, yeah.
So one thing we can all agree on. So you can go on social media and rant about this. We see people ranting about the problems that they have and the frustrations all the time on social media. So we figured, why don't we go and either, there's a couple of ways that people can do those. They can just post their own thing that they're upset about with our healthcare system, whether it's not being able to get access to the medication that's prescribed to them, getting some giant bill in the mail that isn't right or isn't deserved or expected, or any number of different frustrating things that can happen to a patient. And there's a few different ways of that we're going to go and capture and share those stories.
Absolutely. And so that's kind of how this was ideated. As we were building out the project, we got together, and Ray and myself and Kelly, shout out to Kelly, she's one of our co-founders at the organization. We're brainstorming about how could we capture these sort of rants about the healthcare system. So as we brainstormed, we landed on the title, which then is also a hashtag. And that's what we're going to talk about today. How can you get involved in the What the Health campaign? We're going to talk a little bit about some stories here. We're going to share some of our frustrations to give examples. We're going to talk more about how to submit and what we're going to do with the information and what impact this can have. So let's start off. Ray, tell me a What the Health story of yours.
Well, the one that bugged me was trying to get the right medicine. So, they go through all the trouble of researching these medicines, testing them, approving them, manufacturing them, prescribing them. Everything's working great. And now here it is. I've gone to the doctor and I've got the right medicine. They said, oh, this is the one you need for sure, or most likely. And all of a sudden the insurance company says, no, 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 no. Or the PBM that manages the pharmaceuticals delivery for the insurance provider
In the United States.
In the United States, and if you're in some place where you have a medical agency of the government doing this, this should be a pharmacare plan like you have in Canada, or some other kind of government agency acting as this middleman that is controlling the pharma. So it varies by jurisdiction, but the coverage, this last mile problem is very, very frustrating for me in particular, and for a lot of people here, especially in the U.S. So I said, you know what? I couldn't get the drug. They said I couldn't get the drug that I wanted. This new, amazing new drug, and that there's a biologic medicine, and they're a little expensive. And so they said, why don't you try the cheaper drugs, some of the more retro drugs? And I said, this is like going back in time to the 1930s or the 1940s, where they're saying you have to fail the 1940s drug called methotrexate. You have to fail this 1937 drug called sulfasalazine, before you can go back to the future. Yeah. So we just started thinking about these kind of goofy ways of looking at this really miserable problems, that cause, we laugh, but, you get irreversible joint damage while you're running through all these hoops. And
Absolutely.
that's the kind of frustration that we're trying to capture.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's one that I was talking to Ray about, and he said, "I think you should share this one." And it happened to me at last year, and every year I think a lot of us, we get a health insurance plan, the health insurance, your plans roll over, things kind of reset and start over. And at the time, I also changed over insurance companies. And so the biologic that I'm on and that many people are on, there's a fight that you can apply for some kind of financial assistance programs. And I did it. I mean, in my case, in a lot of cases, it takes less than 5 minutes. You apply online, they give you this magic card, and then is the process of actually getting the health care, the health insurance, the specialty pharmacy to apply that financial assistance program, right? So I was approved on January 3rd to get my biologic for $0. However, actually getting it to apply was a whole other thing. So I initially set it up, and then I get this bill in the mail and it says you owe $2,700. I said, okay, well, I don't because I have financial assistance. So I called them up, went through, I don't even know. It felt like forever. It was probably 30 minutes on the phone. Oh, we've got it this time. Okay, another bill. They say it's past due. It's past due. Same bill. So I called them, and this went on until April when I finally somebody applied. And this is applied it to my program. But here's what's frustrating about it. Two things. First, it was frustrating for me because I mean, we're busy people, right? We don't have time to be sitting here constantly going and saying, "Oh no, it's applied. You're good. No, don't worry, don't worry." Um thankfully they still shipped me the medication. So it could have been worse. In saying that, so the time it was just frustrating. But there are a lot of people that I have seen ranting about similar things online, but they don't realize they don't actually owe that $2,700. And that's just part of what us this kind of scam is, right? Like some of these companies are banking on the fact that you're not going to know, like, oh, we forgot to apply this, and they might end up paying it. They get so frustrated thinking, "Oh my gosh, I don't have $2,700." But I
Yeah.
knew that I didn't actually owe that, right?
An
And so that's
educational element there for people as well. They
exactly. And
listen to the problems and they said, oh, if that happens to me, maybe I won't end up with the worst case scenario there. So
yes, and that is a very, very good point here, Ray. So, what are we talking about today? This What the Health campaign. And it is about being frustrated, being ranting about something that's happening in the healthcare system that is driving you crazy, right? And in saying that, it can help you because hey, venting's healthy, right? So it can help you that you can find support. Other people will say, "Oh my gosh, that happened to me too." Oh, and then you feel justified, right? Then also by me sharing things like how I tackled the situation, others could weigh in, others could say that might help somebody else, right? So our
yeah,
concept really builds on that. Let's turn the rants that everybody's doing anyway into something that we can build on, that's something usable, that's something that we can get thousands of people to all saying the same thing because, oh, that happened to me too. Me too. Here's my experience. Now we went
Mhm.
from story sharing to data. We
Yeah.
went to collecting research in order to take all of that. We'll have enough information to go to decision makers and say, here's the problem. Now let's fix it, right?
Right. I think, and that's great because it's a matter of taking all these individual problems and say these are not individual people having individual problems. This is something that is across all patients. All right, and we can look for these commonalities, and we can take this to a drug affordability board. We can take this to, a hospital. We can take this to a state legislature. Okay. We can take this to a federal government. All right. Or, a national government or a health insurer company, where there are a million places we can take this information and kind of affect the change so that we don't need to be so frustrated. We don't need to spend so much time on the phone with the insurance company or with the hospital billing or whomever.
Absolutely.
And we get our meds when we need them.
That's right. That's important. So you might ask, all right, I have a story to share. Well, we know you do because everybody has been frustrated with the healthcare system. So, how do you get involved? Well, more about this campaign. So, first, I want to just mention that this, and Ray said it, but I just really want to highlight this is a disease agnostic. And that just literally means it's not only people living with autoimmune arthritis, autoinflammatory arthritis diseases like AI arthritis represents. We just ideated this. So we're not keeping it just for ourselves. And we do imagine this will grow. We hope it goes viral. And then as we need more organizations to come in and help co-lead, great. But for right now, we're leading it, but anybody should participate, right? Anybody.
Absolutely.
The ways, and before I talk about the ways to participate, I also want Ray to just give a little bit more of, kind of a connection on the idea of the Knowledge is Empowerment program and kind of the teacher and us teaching people of where this ideated.
So the Knowledge is Empowerment program, as it sounds, it has a couple of pieces here. So the first piece here is knowledge. Uh, we need to understand, why are we having these problems? Why is it that I had to go and try these old drugs here that, if they had worked, they wouldn't have invented the new ones, probably, I would think, if they worked that great. But um, why do I need to go do that? Well, that's something called step therapy, where they don't want to cover the expensive drug if they can go and do it for a cheaper one. And this is, in a situation where you're using taxpayer money, it's responsible use of public resources to do that. So there's an argument to be made for that. However, if it's being done for profit, this becomes more controversial. So we can dive in and talk about what's happening, what's the step, why are they doing it, what's the argument, why is this problematic for patients, and a patient can become completely knowledgeable about this. Something that they don't want to know about this. Maybe they've just got a diagnosis and they're not expected to follow this as closely as you or I do, who work in this patient advocacy field. So that's the first piece. The second piece is the empowerment. Now that you know this, you can spot it when it's being done to you. You can report it. You can know how to handle it. You can talk to your doctor. You can get exceptions if you're switched for something. You can argue your way out of it. You don't need to pay that $2,700 bill, Tiffany. You knew. You were empowered. You were
Oh,
knowledgeable and empowered.
I was knowledgeable and empowered to say,
Uh,
uh-uh,
yeah, exactly. So you know better. And so when we go
no,
and do that, and
sir.
I see all these people, and I've met patients like this, and I know you have too, where they come in, they say, "How am I supposed to afford this stuff?" And I said, "Manufacturer copay coupons. They want you to get the drugs, okay? And you can get a $5, $10, a $0 copay, all right." And so we educate people so that they're empowered, not just to go and get the medication that they need and the treatment that they need, but to go out and address some of these problems. And this means we'll share this with policymakers. We'll have people testify. They can get involved in their state and testify about legislation that affects their access to medications. And there's any number of opportunities. So I encourage everyone to check out the Knowledges Empowerment webpage on AiArthritis.org. And there's videos on every topic you can imagine. And we're adding new things all the time. Classrooms will give you a deep dive. And these are patient led. These are not written by policy people to be at a high level. You don't need a law degree or a doctorate to understand these. These are written by patients, and they're led by patients, and it should be very accessible to everybody. And if it isn't, there's a glossary there so you can look up the
Right.
word that you don't know, and then you'll know it for next time.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for giving an overview of that, Ray. And Ray is our project manager of the public facing classroom. There's two different levels of this classroom. So the public facing is where What the Health also lives under and originated from. Because in those videos that Ray's talking about, we do have story sharing, but it's a little bit more of examples, not rates. So that's where this sort of brainstorm came with. We also need an opportunity for, yes, we need these educational videos, simple stories, nice stories that give great examples that we can hand over to legislators so we can, just encourage people to share those types of stories. But we also need a place for people to just be mad and just say, this happened to me. And so it's sort of the other side of the video library. Now we have the What the Health rant. And so how do you participate in this? Well, we made it really, really super easy. I mean, this is something you get mad. What do? You tell your friends, you rant on social media in some cases, or you just want somewhere to tell somebody what's happening, right? So that's how we've kept it very simple. The ways to participate: if you are a person who rants publicly on social media, we have an option for you. So if you're on social media and you want to rant, but please use the hashtag WTHellth and then the question mark and the exclamation point. So by putting the hashtag, now we can find you, right? So now we can find all of the stories. So you can also tag What the Health. So we do have social media platforms. So if you tag that, it's possible we might share it. So we won't share it though if you don't tag us. So by tagging us, it makes it going to tell us, hey, I'm cool with you sharing this, right? So there is that kind of decision. I want to sort of rant to myself. I really want everyone to rant. And if we are being able to see it and tagged, we might even invite you to come on to a show, right? Because we're going to have a whole series of What the Health shows. I mean, come on and feature all of these. But maybe you don't want to be so public. That's okay too. We have a website, the whatthehealth.org website, and there you can fill out a form. It can be anonymous if you so choose. So you might come home and just go, oh my gosh, I need somebody to listen to me. Ray, let me tell you what just happened. You pull that up, you can go to the form, and Ray will be like, what the hell? Right? Right?
That's right.
So he really is going to be one of the people reading it.
I
So
am.
it's
I
not
am.
so far fetched.
And there's a lot of options on there for what level of comfort you have with. You can say, you can use my first name and that's it. Or you can use just completely anonymous, please. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, Ray, you gave so those are just your basic ways, right? And so you think about social media. If you want to do a video of yourself ranting, if you want to just type it out, I'm a big ranter via type. I might put a photo on there. So as long as you're using the hashtag, that's really the key here. But Ray, when we started piloting this, you've had some more creative submissions too. So what are some other creative ways that people could submit these kinds of grants?
So when someone is ready to submit a story, there is actually a little spot where they could upload an outrageous medical bill or some kind of supporting information if they want, as you said. But so there's a lot more options than even that. Some people they lip sync along to a song while putting some factoid up about some ridiculous interaction they had, some huge copay, $1,700 a month copay that just popped up that is just absurd and ridiculous. Or another person went and shows himself on the phone and it's turning to night while they're on the phone trying to sort this out with the insurance companies. So there's a lot of options you can do. It doesn't need to be a straight telling of a story. You can just, I don't know, make fun of the situation. Because as I always say, this is stuff we want to laugh about. Otherwise, we'd cry about it. And that's the frustration that we're trying to capture and hopefully, share with the policymakers.
Love that. So, yes, be creative. Let's see how creative you can be with these. Just make sure, use that hashtag WTHellth question mark exclamation point. So we can find it and other people can find it too. I mean, that's part of this, right? This is a global campaign. So anyone in the world, this is a perfect opportunity to just really let it out and let us start to be able to track these important rants so that we can get the information that we need to show, hey, there's enough people talking about this. I think we need to look at it. This is where we need change. So in saying that, I just wanted to throw in sort of this the innovative spin here that AiArthritis kind of looked into this, which Ray touched on with the whole knowledge is empowerment program, is we firmly believe we know, we see when we're doing anything with policy changes, government changes, there's always a need for these stories to supplement what the ask is going to be, right? So we need change. Here's some research, or here's some data points, or here's some why. And then here are the patient's stories that
Yeah.
provide the heart and the emotion. Very important, very powerful.
You need both.
However, we want to take it to the next level. And so at AI Arthritis, everything we do is based on patient experience data, or taking the stories, not one, not two, 20, 40, 100, 1,000, and then saying, well, hold on a minute. We're all saying this. It's a problem. So we're taking that model into this. And in addition to these amazing stories that need to be heard, we will be able to capture the research and we will be able to utilize that. So that is impact. And Ray, I think you've said it really well too. And I want to hear kind of your impression on how you envision this impact. I see it a lot of being able to create these points, these themes, these moments, these pieces, these stories that thousands of them together that give us enough information to go to these decision makers and say, we not only have the heartfelt stories, but the heartfelt stories created enough information where we also have the data.
Well, so when I think about it, I know you're on the phone with the insurance company, or you're on the phone with the hospital or billing or something like that, and you're so frustrated, and you're angry about it, and you know they say they care, they don't really care that much, and what you're just one person, okay? But if you get they get 100 people who are upset about this, maybe they care a little bit, or what if they get 1,000, or maybe they care more, right? It becomes a bigger problem. But if you go into where they're drafting legislation or a policy, and I can give you a white paper that has great research and it's all methodical, but it's cold, it's intellectual, okay? And I can come up and I can bring somebody out and they can tell a story, and that's emotional and that's heartfelt, and but it's one person, it's anecdotal. So this is a way of kind of combining the best of both worlds, where
Yes.
it's got the one little ant can't do much, but together they can move a big object. So that's kind of really the way I envision this program being effective. So I'm happy to be a part of it.
Well, I think that brings us really to the end of this show. And this is the first of many, I think, that are going to transpire out of What the Health. There's so many different stories we can create. There's so many things to track. We're putting this on the table to invite all of you to participate. And let's circle back to more episodes where we literally read these, talk about them, invite more, maybe you out there who submit a story to us. We invite you and you become a guest on the show. I think we have a lot of opportunity to really make change. And I'm excited about this, Ray.
Me too.
All right. Anything else to share before we wrap up?
I think we just have to give the URL again, which
All
is
right.
whatthehealth.org. That's WTHellth.org. And then if you don't want to go there, there's the hashtag, which is WTHELLTH question mark exclamation point, because we are both befuddled and angry about it. Frustrated, I think is a better word. And I talked about being on the phone with people and they say, I understand your frustration. And yeah, I don't know that they do. So I think it's important that we share that collectively as patients, and we can share that frustration with the health system and hopefully affect some positive change.
Absolutely. All right. So we're here. The world's waiting. Let's get these what the health stories, videos, shares out there. So together we can make impact with thousands of stories. We can use those for data and for story sharing, putting it all in once, completely patient infused, completely patient led, just like we do always at AiArthritis. So, Ray, thank you so much for joining today and being my amazing co host. I'm excited about this campaign and the future of it. So thank you all for tuning in. Remember, if you love the show, while you visit AiArthritis.org, please consider giving a donation so we can continue programs just like this. Also, make sure you check us out on all of our social media platforms. You can find those when you visit AiArthritis.org. And you can also find the platforms for the What the Health campaign associated on that website as well. So tuning out for this time. But thanks. And everybody, please pull up a seat at the table because only together can we change the stories of tomorrow.